Hello everybody, this is Kickball Jedi playing 7 Days to Die Undead Legacy in the 7 Days to Diary series. And at the beginning of the series I said after every 2 Horde nights I would up the difficulty. So here we are at our current settings for days 1 through 14. I'll go ahead and bump up the difficulty to Warrior. Now I had already upped the zombie day speed to jog from walk, from the default walk. I think I'll just keep that the same. Having the zombies sprint at night when they're feral, I think is fine, and Nightmare on Blood Moon is fine. We'll up these more on the next one. Like if I hadn't up this from walk to jog, I would have done that now. We'll keep that at Nightmare. We'll go ahead and on the Blood Moon count bump it up a notch from 12 to 16 enemies. 12 was kind of a lot. I'm hoping that over the next 7 days I'll be able to actually start building my own horde base as opposed to using the POI that I'm in, but we'll see. The POI I'm in now, 16 enemies might work, but it seemed like it was getting kind of strained with 12. I was starting getting some squeeze through the blocks, so alright, we'll see what happens going forward, and on with the next episode for day 15 in 7 Days to Diary. On day 15, I started a farm/garden on the roof of the paper mill. I went and got my mission completed at Joey's car lot, where I wrenched a whole bunch of cars, got car parts, and even looted a Valkyrie drill. It was too heavy for me to carry, so I left the stash at the POI. I did turn the mission in at the trader, and I even upgraded my sword to a slightly better crummy sword. I started off day 16 checking on my new garden on the roof. Things were going just fine, so it was looking good. I didn't have much, but it was a start. Now, the day before, I had done my research to make the workbench. So I got the workbench schematic, and now I wanted to see what it would take to make the workbench itself. And it looked like all I needed was the bench vise. Simple item made in the blacksmith forge. Now I did have a pretty good amount of all the other ingredients, so I really had no issue actually making the workbench at this point. Sometimes if there's something that I want to craft and I have just enough to make it, I really don't want to use up all my ingredients just to make one thing, so I'll hold off on it. Now, I did need a wrench to make the workbench, which at this point I only had one wrench on me because I used another one to make the schematic, so I think. So I went ahead and made a second wrench. I did hear one of my favorite guys, the tourist, wreaking havoc below, so I decided to go and fight him outside instead of fighting him in the base where he could damage stuff. I use my new sword. Seemed to be a little bit better. Felt a little bit faster. Still had trouble doing power attacks with it. Creatures had to be really, really close to complete a power attack. So I have to make the wrench and the vise. I decided to stash the wrench I did not want to use. That was fully repaired. I think the one I had was actually a little bit better, like as far as damage it did or something, but one was fully repaired and one was just about to break, so decided to go ahead and use the broken one. Heard another zombie downstairs. So again, being proactive before they just sat down there breaking things. I thought I'd go down and take care of it. I did notice the zombies seemed a little bit tougher than they were before the Horde Night. Could just be them evolving as time goes on. They're getting bigger, tougher, harder to kill. Had everything I needed, had all the materials, including a lot of extra of most of the materials it was built with. Made that, and then also I made the schematic for the ballistics table, and it was the same. I think the only thing I needed on that was also the bench vise, and I had all the other materials I needed to make it. So there we go. In the beginning of day 16, I had the workbench and the ballistics table. Now you do need the workbench to make the ballistics table, so be sure to research the workbench first and then the ballistics table, or you'll waste your research data. Just from materials I looted randomly, I had enough ingredients to make 89 shotgun shells, so I went ahead and made those. Really didn't need the gunpowder for anything else. That was the only thing that I was kind of short on. Now, in the last mission I was on, I did pick up a locker. I was going to put that to use. Zombies did seem tougher, but my new sword also seemed like it was doing more damage, so everything seemed to balance out. So I was going to put the lockers here so that when I returned, whether it was on my bicycle or in the future in a vehicle, if there was anything too heavy, I could stash it in that locker. And then I headed off for my next mission, which happened to be a hardware store. Now, even if as I pulled up, I noticed that this would be a great hardware store once I had a vehicle that could carry stuff, carry a good amount of weight. You can see stacks of clay, bricks, cement. It's just a great stash for all that stuff. Kind of checked the parking lot out before I went inside. Found a buddy. So I decided to go ahead and start the mission. These shopping carts are great for wrenching. You get scrap iron and mechanical parts out of them. Nice and easy. I'd taken some jailbreakers or lockbreaker candy, so I'm going to put that to use. Good amount of money on ATM. A skill point. My first thought was to try to increase my scavenging, but I also realized with my garden I wanted to be able to get more crops from the plants that I was growing there, so I had to go into perception. some of the cars while I was out there. Oh, I was really surprised to see one of these, it's 240Z with the old Gulf gasoline colors, the baby blue and orange. Love that color combination. And now it's time to get inside. Now really, since I couldn't carry all of the cement and clay, I really wasn't going to have to worry about carrying all that stuff. But if I did ever get a car or a van, I'd love to stop by and grab it all. And stacks of bricks. There's a lot of great stuff in here. It's a little too heavy for me now on my bicycle. Went ahead and checked all the loot. Not really a lot of good stuff outside of the building items. Looted the whole front. A lot of cloth rags. I hadn't run into any zombies in the front, and then I took a second to start wrenching this shopping cart, and they came out of the woodwork. Like the party girl had the most energy. I had to keep them outside. I had room to move, swing. Power attack with the sword is just no good. It's literally like the power attack of the sword. You have to be closer than the power attack for a knife. I mean, it seemed like even with the knife, you have a longer range. One of the zombies knocked open that panel and exposed that, so I figured I should loot it. I like the look of this toolbox, so I went ahead and grabbed that. And while I still had that lockpicking candy going, I decided to use it. But it was surprising, even when I had a 49% chance of auto-picking the lock, it still took 3 tries. Again, when it comes to the airdrops, I'm not specifically going to go after an airdrop, but if they happen to be on my way somewhere that I'm going, I'll go ahead and grab it. Alright, headed into the back area. Kind of a storeroom, break room kind of area. Looted all those cardboard boxes again. Not a lot there. I was really surprised. I was hoping to find maybe some tools, maybe a claw hammer, maybe another wrench. I think some of the best stuff I found were some nails, paintbrush. I mean, just a lot of rags. I don't know if it's because I was looting in the forest biome. I needed to go out to the desert or the snow to get a higher tier of loot, but it just was not good. My lockpick candy had expired. I only had one hairpin lockpick left, so I decided to try to use it. It just made it before it broke. I did have plenty of the regular metal lockpicks though. So somebody noticed me outside, but they had an iron door to get through, so I figured I had a few seconds to loot the office. Actually got a power attack off there, but again, I had to be right up against them to do it. so I was worried about the construction worker coming from outside, but coming from the back was another group of zombies. Lumberjack. And then, even when I thought there were only these three, and another maintenance worker, another lumberjack. So yeah, I'm starting to get a little too much. I decided to pull out the shotgun. And I had a few shells on me. Of course, I hadn't reloaded the shotgun. The phrase is using one shot, one kill. I like the phrase better when it's one shot, two kills. Alright, so I had those guys cleared up. And love wrenching the shotgun parts. Got scrap iron, mechanical parts. And I think my weight was still, my encumbrance was just fine. Somebody dropped some present for me. Now I was keeping the sham sandwiches now because I knew they were part of the antibiotic recipe, even though I was pretty sure I wasn't going to make it to a Kim Station 3 to be able to make that antibiotic anytime soon. Still figured why not. To the back area. Again, I was surprised back in this kind of storage area. Really not a lot of good loot. When you're looting a hardware store, you expect a little bit of hardware. Maybe an auger, maybe some more tools like a shovel, a pick. I was still using my stone pick and stone shovel. Back in the trailer, I actually started finding a couple good things. So I actually did find a pitchfork. Not a weapon that I'd probably be using, but it was worth some money. A little more gunpowder. Now that I had the ballistics bench, I was definitely keeping an eye out for gunpowder, shotgun shell materials, pellets. I guess you can't complain as long as you're finding anything that's good. So finding oil, electrical parts, springs, rebar. I mean, these are all handy things. It's just I was kind of hoping for a little more. There was a good assortment. Now it's time to head up to the roof. One step on the roof and I woke everything up. Everything started coming. Figured I didn't want to stay up there, so I had to wait for them to come to me. Again, using the door as a shield. There's a nice way to handle things. One at a time. Oh, and now the door is on. There was still one stuck, and it sounded like it was a lumberjack. The world of the zombie apocalypse. You take one shot with a shotgun, and you can tell that every zombie in the area heard you. Alright, so I figured that was just about every zombie on the roof, so I figured the roof was clear now. Go ahead and get these air conditioning units. Again, just gathering materials. I still haven't found the missing supplies that I was looking for, but I figured I'd run into them at some point. Here's the last room, the storeroom. It looks like all the zombies that guarded the storeroom were on the roof, so the room itself was empty. Finally, I did get a scrap shovel. I don't know if I still had a chance to go back to dig for Ileana's locket, but I could use the shovel for that. I did find a axe that was slightly better than my scrap axe. It was called a crude axe. So I had a scrap axe, found a crude axe that was slightly better at block damage. Pitchfork, found a frying pan, not worth much. Didn't do a lot of damage. Not much in the main loot. Some crossbow bolts, which I don't use the crossbow. A scrap chest armor for me to sell. Now repair kits, that's something else. I wouldn't mind finding a lot more of those at a hardware store. Looted this supply box, and I got a steel axe. Now, I'm sure the steel axe is awesome, but I'm nowhere near any condition to be able to repair a steel axe. I'm sure it takes steel plates or something like that, or some repair kit. Which, you know, I'm not sure if I could even make the regular repair kits yet. I think I can in the workbench. I might need a workbench tier 2. Not sure. That's another thing. I didn't find any recipes or schematics in this POI. You think there would have been plans like how to make steel tools or how to make an iron axe or something like that, but no. Alright, so I took more lockpicking candy and then picked the lock in the office. A good amount of cash. The bow, primitive bow, is not better than my wood bow. I think I was just about to leave, and then I saw the reminder that I needed to get the supplies. Now this took a while. There's actually a Crack-A-Book store right nearby, and I was hoping I would finish with the hardware store in plenty of time to at least do some of the bookstore, but found a weapons bag with some weapons parts in it and a mod, which I already had, but I still hadn't found where the supplies were. It took me quite a while to figure it out. It looked like they were inside this vent, but the whole thing was like steel or something, so trying to break through it with my stone pick would take all night. I figured there must be a easier, better way. And then I saw it was in this grate. I think the grate had 10,000 health, so it was even stronger than the vent up above. So I kept on trying to figure out how to get to it. Attracted a couple zombies. And then I had a plan. I was going to try to get that air vent and see if that had any effect on vent where the supplies were. I totally missed this water dispenser with 3 bottles of mineral water in it, which is excellent. Thought maybe this would make a hole beside where the supplies were, but didn't actually. Used the vent so I could get to it, and the mission was done. Obviously, I'd attracted the attention of some zombies, but it was getting late, and I really wanted to turn in this mission and get back to base. Looked like it was a pretty big group there, and there was the Crack-a-Book. I really wanted to at least get the front area of that, because I did need more research points, and of course if I found some schematics or recipes that I could use, it would be great, but there's no chance.
Something you want to buy or trade?
Of course, one of the rewards was a wrench, which is what I just made. But it also had a 9mm pistol, so I went ahead and took that. So now I had a 10mm pistol, a better 9mm pistol than what I started with. Had the shotgun.
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Yeah, he's doing okay. Now I did have a lot of stuff to sell, including a stack of cash. So I took the sugar butts to add to the value, and it's pretty significant. When it comes to stacks of cash, you really want to save up your stacks of cash and then take a sugar butts, or maybe have the skill to increase the amount you get for selling, because you get $3,000 worth of old cash and you get a 10%
Time to move
bump
on
on it, and that's extra $300. And when I asked the trader about available missions, we did have the Crack-a-Book that I was eyeing before available. Let's save weight. I got rid of the stone shovel, and then by the time I did that, I was just a little bit encumbered. Not that bad. I mean, I'd be on the bike, so the bike allows you to carry more. The bike doesn't have any inventory of its own that you can put stuff on the bike. But if you're encumbered and you hop on the bike, you'll be able to move smooth and easy on the bike to a much higher weight than walking. And in typical fashion, it was getting to be nightfall as I was heading home. Now I did happen to pass the airdrop. It was actually on my way, but it looked like it landed on the roof of a nearby building, so it shouldn't be any trouble to make a stack of frames and go up to it and get it, but I didn't want to do that at night. Again, some great benefits of having the bicycle over walking. Oh, I'd also seen a mini bike earlier, and I marked what supplies I needed to fix up the mini bike. So I was so encumbered that I couldn't jump up onto the ladder, so that's exactly why I put those lockers there. I did just realize I probably should have just gone ahead and put the bicycle in there too. Leave the bicycle out there. I don't think the zombies will attack my locker. Anyway, I got back, got everything organized, and I started looking into what materials I had for the mini bike repair, and it looks like the only things I was missing was the compact engine, the battery, and the wheels. When I first started looking, I was also missing the iron plates, but I went ahead and made those. So what I decided to do was down at the mechanics bench is to go ahead and put that toolbox down and put all the materials that I had for repairing the mini bike in that toolbox. Now, I wrenched a lot of cars when I did Joey's car lot, so I'm not sure why I hadn't run into any sort of compact engine or batteries. I may need to upgrade that scavenging skill. I checked to see what it took to make the mini bike tires. I happen to have that schematic. I happen to know how to do that. Now, at first it didn't show any of the materials were transmitting, but as I moved back and got in closer range of the materials that are right up above me in the room, all of them showed up. So I had a good amount of just about everything I needed. I needed 2 tires. I didn't have enough for 2 tires, or 2 wheels, but I didn't need that much more. Probably some more iron plates, and I'd be good on the tires. So really, again, it all came down to I need better scavenging. But with that, it was a good day, and I took a much needed sleep.